Following program was provided by a valued member of our local community. Rogers TV is proud to support local producers and share local voices, ideas, and opinions. For more information, please visit our website. The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers Cable or Rogers TV.
As a family chiropractor in practice for over 20 years, I am firmly of the belief that one of the best things you can do for your health is simply to choose it. We all know that taking care of your body is an active, ongoing endeavor. It's not something that you just do once and then your body's magically healthy. The healthiest people on this planet are always looking at their stress levels, moving their body in some way consistently, watching their food, looking to supportive healthcare practitioners to enhance their level of health and help them recover from injuries. And I want to remind you that your health is in your hands. The best thing that you can do is to make your health a priority. And if you're stuck with where to start by looking at your movement. Start by looking at your sleep patterns. Start by just doing a check-in. Where are the biggest gaps in your health? And if you have habits that you used to do in the past that you know made you feel and function better, start by adding them, reintroducing them back into your life. There are so many amazing healthcare practitioners in my local area as well as internationally that can help you get back on track. There are podcasts, there are books, there are training sessions, there are workshops. Lots of things that you can do to get yourself back on track, but I want to encourage you to do one thing today to make your health a priority. It is all in your hands, and the more actively you are engaged in your health day to day, the better you are going to be long term with any recovery from illnesses, from accidents, slips and falls, and more importantly, you're going to feel better and function better to enjoy the quality of life that you deserve. If we can be of help, please reach out. I'm Dr. Melissa Longo. My practice is based in Collingwood, Ontario. We have a massive referral network of international doctors and health practitioners. If you need some support, let us know. But remember, health doesn't come from random actions. It doesn't come from getting lucky or not lucky. It comes from the active choices that you make every day. So make your health a priority.
Four-minute challenge. Follow along with me or go at your own pace and refer to the description on the side there. Drive hard with the heels, fully extend those hips when you stand, and then sink into your hips when you squat. Stay tight. That kettlebell or dumbbell travels in a straight line, always returning to the center in between the feet, as you see. 5 of these babies. Into our pivots. Core tight. Three burpees. There we go. Looking good. Few tuck jumps. Land softly as best you can. And one clean and press both sides. Even if it's not heavy, treat it like it's heavy. Stay tight. Drive it up. Core engaged, glutes engaged, standing nice and tall. Perfect. And rinse and repeat. Keep going. You want to relax your grip as you're hiking it up and transferring, tucking the elbows underneath. Nice. Pivots, core tight. That weight is right on your sternum. Protect your lower back. Very good. Burpees. Tuck jump. And the clean and press. Again, treat it like it's heavy. You're doing great. Keep this going here. We're almost done. Finish this strong. Pivots. Core tight. Make sure to breathe. 3 burpees. Here we go. Tuck jumps.
Is the Barrie real estate market freezing up? We put a video together for you guys to show you that maybe now is the best time to be looking forward to a house. To a house? To getting a house. Hit the like and subscribe button down below, guys, and also leave us a comment. Are there some questions that you have? Let us know. Is the Barrie real estate market freezing up? Sellers are ghosting you. Buyers are hesitating and listings are sitting on the market for extended periods of time. What does that mean? What does that look like?
I mean, the question of whether it's freezing up or not being true, I don't know. Stuff is sitting there, yeah, but a lot of stuff is not priced properly necessarily. Buyers freezing up is more so, in my opinion, just not necessarily. You don't want to tie in politics to anything quite like this, but the uncertainty kind of just leads people to pause and maybe not, like, just the uncertainty of jobs causes people to pause.
Well, and the interesting thing is people say, the market's crashing. Will the market crash? I think it's more of a stalemate. Now, there are certain pockets that are moving very, very well. First-time home buyers, there seems to be a little bit of an uptick in those prices because it is a buyer's market right now because the inventory has increased. So you can understand that from a seller's perspective. Maybe when you're talking to, a house that you were in 30 days ago and they said no to your offer as an example, well, now all of a sudden 30 days later, maybe that no becomes a yes, right? That's the opportunities that are out there for people. And I think part of it is we listen so much to the media and to the public about what's going on. Prices are falling, prices are crashing. Well, over the last 5 years, we all know what happened. Prices went absolutely ridiculous and we knew we couldn't sustain that, right? And then they did soften, but then we've rebounded somewhat from that. When you get a combination of fair pricing and fair interest rates, you're going to start seeing more activity. So this is normal. What we were in before was not. Now you can do all of the proper conditions that you want on properties, financing, inspection, etc. Your stepfather coming in and taking a look as well. There's all kinds of ways that you can protect yourself, not like the market that we were in before.
Part of it is people are doing what we preach, basically, when it comes to properties, and they're staying patient. If there's a property that you are interested in, but price is too high, you feel, just wait it out. Bring them another offer a month down the road that's the same as what you did previously, or maybe even slightly less. Like, there's so many properties out there that the one you fell in love with is still going to be available.
Or maybe something else comes on.
Yeah, because you have so many options. So if you stay patient, you can pick and choose, which is why it's called a buyer's market. The buyer has all of the power in this situation. And because people are able to stay patient, maybe too patient sometimes,
Yeah.
but it feels like and seems like the market's freezing.
Are prices freezing or the berry market frozen? Absolutely not. I think what you're seeing is that people are becoming more used to a normal market. I don't think people really fully understand where we're at. And as Jake said, that goes back to confidence. And it just, people don't necessarily have it right now because of the uncertain times. Is the closet falling?
Talking about confidence.
Yeah, I know.
I'm aware of what the sign is.
What we're seeing, though, is it's about confidence. It's about the buyers and the sellers, as we talked about. They're in a stalemate. Nobody really knows what to do because of the uncertainty that's going on. Am I going to have my job next week? Am I going to, the price of groceries and all that sort of thing? So the difficulty is the confidence that, oh, we're in the driveway.
Of course, it's the driveway. Why wouldn't it be?
I think the biggest challenge that we have right now is the confidence the confidence of everybody, the buyers and the sellers, who are at a stalemate because none of them really know what to do. They're not 100% sure about their job, about price of groceries, etc., and how that's going to affect their everyday life. So,
oh yeah, giant tiger, eh? Millie, you were just there. We were just that giant tiger, and I waved to you.
I think the biggest thing, honestly, is the perspective of people talking about berry being frozen. If you look at the last 5 years, yeah, in comparison, berries frozen as heck in comparison to what we went through with COVID. But if you extend past that, we're kind of just back to normal.
Yeah.
It's just people are so used to what it was recently that it seems frozen by comparison, and that's just not true.
And we had this discussion earlier talking about everybody is hooked up or stuck on COVID and everything that happened during then. That's a long time ago and things have changed. And we are heading back to what is more of a normal real estate market, and people can do the normal things that they could back when, pre-COVID, for lack of a better word. So,
believe it or not being able to put conditions on your offer is not normal.
No, not at all. So, in summary, the berry real estate market is pretty solid, guys. You can do exactly what you want, conditional on financing, inspection, etc. It's normal.
Caring for someone else means taking on responsibility for their needs and well-being. You are their lifeline. It's stressful, and you may feel there's no time to focus on your own needs, or that supports to help reduce your stress just aren't available. Regardless, unchecked stress of caregiving can undermine your mental health, and you need to be proactive. So how do you promote your mental well-being with limited time? First, let's look at some simple self-help strategies like doing something for just a few minutes that inspires you, relaxes you, or energizes you, like music, meditation, breathwork, stretching, or things that make you laugh. Self-help strategies don't have to be time-consuming. Here's a simple breathing exercise you can try whenever you feel stressed. It's called box breathing. First, you inhale slowly using a deep breath filling your belly for the count of 4. Then hold your breath for a count of 4. Exhale for a count of 4. Then pause for a count of 4 before inhaling deeply again. Repeat until you feel more grounded. Give it a try and see if it works for you. And when you have some time, spend it outdoors. Just being in the fresh air and seeing and hearing what is around you stimulates your senses and calms your mind, which helps you feel instead of think and will promote living in the moment and peacefulness. Journaling is another convenient strategy. Writing down anxious thoughts and feelings helps process them and lets you slow down and ask yourself what you need and want from others to maintain your energy. It's also a chance to reflect on the contribution you're making as a caregiver, even when you worry it's not enough. Remember, being kind to yourself goes a long way to promote your mental health. Social support strategies are also important. Learn how to ask for and accept help from others. Try listing your daily tasks and see what you can delegate. Make time to talk, text, or visit with family and friends, or reach out to your faith community. Or connect with other caregivers either one-on-one or through the Ontario Caregivers Peer Mentor Program, or by joining a support group. Finally, seek professional help when self-help and social support just aren't enough. Talk to your family doctor for a referral or use the 24/7 Caregiver Helpline for information on mental health services in your area or free online mental health resources delivered by professionals, including webinars, virtual group coaching, and individual counseling through our SCALE program. Remember, we have other caregiver mental health resources on our website and additional programs and services that you can explore.
Hi everyone, this is Vivian from Barrie Public Library, and with me today is our telescope kit. When you borrow a telescope kit from the Barrie Public Library, you're going to find that it is disassembled potentially in a few different ways depending on the person who borrowed it last and how they disassembled it. But in every single kit, you'll have your optical lens, you'll have a tripod that has a mount attached, you're going to have your finder scope, 2 different lenses at various heights. We have a 20 millimeter and a 10 millimeter. You'll have the mount for the finder scope, an erect image diagonal, and then also a smartphone adapter so that you can take some pretty cool pics. So looking at the tripod first, let's just set this up here, make it a little bit easier to see. You'll be opening this guy up, depending on how tall you want to make it or how short you are. You can open up each of the legs to different heights to get it fairly long. On the mount itself also is a level so that you can actually make sure if you're outside on uneven ground that you can get yourself balanced nice and evenly. And then of course there's also a crank. So if you are wanting to make it higher, and let me just get this guy out of the way. If you want to make it higher, you can just up this guy a little bit more. So as you just saw, for the mount to actually work and be easy to use to reposition your telescope, we actually have a few different ways to adjust it. What you have to make sure that you remember if you are wanting to adjust the pitch is you're going to need to loosen the handle. So righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, you're going to loosen it up, and that way you're going to be fully able to adjust the vertical level of that. So I'm going to tighten this guy up here nice and flat so that it's easy to place our telescope on top. Again, this is the quick release, and we are going to put this backwards here. We're going to open up our quick release and just make sure it's latched shut. And now our telescope is secured onto the tripod. All right, and again, loosening it up a little. I can adjust how this is angled. That's too much of an angle, but we can put that over here and tighten that up. Depending again on how it was returned, you may see that there's these two little knobs that are just sitting loose up here on the top. This is the spot for the finder scope to be attached. So it might already be attached when you borrow it, or it might not be there and it might be loose in the kit, in the case, in which case you're going to grab the mount, place it on top, use those two little screw bolts and tighten those down onto the telescope itself. So the finder scope is a good part to use because it actually helps you find what you're looking for before you really enter the zoom of the telescope, at which point, if you've ever tried looking at things through a magnifying glass or through binoculars or a telescope, it's kind of hard to find when you're really zoomed in. So you can look first through the finder scope to make sure you're pointed in the right direction. And then once you know that you're aligned and everything is calibrated nicely between both the finder scope and the telescope, that you can start playing and actually go have fun with this. So when you look through the finder scope, you'll see that there's basically a target, two different crosshairs that you can align. When you have this set up, you'll be able to, let me loosen this, adjust things so that, so I'm looking through here, I'm going to aim, that looks like where I want it to be finding. I'm going to tighten that up. And then I'm actually ready to start looking. Once I'm ready to start finding, I'll be using the erect image diagonal, and this is actually just going to slide in here. And again, we've got two little screws that we're just going to tighten, and that's going to hold this in place. And this is actually what flips and mirrors the image so that we can see it properly. If you looked through, if you had tried putting a lens directly in here without using the diagonal, you're going to see things both backwards and upside down. So once that's in there, I'm going to take out one of our lenses and we're going to put it in here. And again, I made this the wrong adjustment for myself. So I'm going to loosen the screws up, change the angle of the lens, and I've got it set up. I can take a look. That's where I still want to point it. So I'm going to look in through the actual lens, and now I'm going to use the knobs on the side to adjust the focus so that everything comes in absolutely crystal clear, and that is exactly what I'm looking for. And now I see this nice crisp image that is not upside down and not mirrored and looks really pretty cool. Now, if you're into photography, we also have a smartphone adapter that's in each kit. So if you have a smartphone with maybe hopefully a nice camera, what you can do is set this up over our actual eyepiece, tighten that up, and then unfortunately I don't have my phone with me here right now, but you can have this totally set up, and then basically using the different knobs, adjust the angle and the orientation of where this is fitting, and you can get it set up so that your lens is directly over the eyepiece, so that if you already have it in position in the right spot, you can take some pretty cool pictures. So that is our telescope kit from Barrie Public Library. And if you're interested in getting more information, take a look at our website under our Library of Things page. You can find the telescope kit and a bunch of the other items. But if you go onto the telescope kit, you'll see a section called our helpful links, and you get more information about using this telescope, the user manual, some neat things to take a look at and try finding in the sky, and learn more about using a telescope and astronomy.
Hey you, over there. Check out this bear. Want to sit on a chair? What shall I wear? I've never eaten a pear. But here's today's question. Is it fair? I mean, is it? Fairness is a tricky one because it applies to a lot of different things. Let's break it down to the basics so we can best understand it. Fairness is all about treating people with kindness and respect. It's about considering other people's feelings and never going out of our way to be mean or selfish. When we are fair, we try and include everybody and listen to their ideas and make sure everybody has a voice. To ensure that fairness is always being practiced, our world revolves around different sets of rules. Because without rules, we have chaos. When we play sports, we follow the rules of the game to ensure that everybody has a fair chance at winning and a fair chance at having fun. And when we drive from home to school or work, we follow the rules of the road to ensure everybody is safe and also have a fair share of the road. Adults also have to pay bills, which means money that they pay for things like heat, water, energy, internet, and all kinds of home services. And they only pay those bills for what they use, which sounds pretty fair to me. It's also important to remember that fairness doesn't mean everybody gets the same thing or is treated alike. Instead, fairness means each person gets what they need or deserve based on their individual circumstances. At the school where I work, we've got many different students of all different ages with different kinds of abilities. Fairness in this case wouldn't be giving all the same students the same test, but rather adjusting the difficulty of the test based on their grade level, skill, and ability. It's all about making sure that each student has a fair opportunity to show what they've learned. And some days, things are gonna happen that are completely and totally out of your control. And we don't need to call that unfair, we just call that life. And sometimes, that's just how it goes. So remember, fairness is all about treating the people you know appropriately and considering their individual needs and abilities. It's about making choices that are just and reasonable, even if they're not exactly the same for everybody. Now then, I do declare that you are aware of how to be fair, which is so popular. Thanks as always for tuning into the Mr. Sad Show. Please consider subscribing and give us a like. And we'll see you next time, Mr. Sad. Oh! So remember, fairness is trotting.
I started searching on the internet and I ended up with the Barrie Public Library Dragonboat Festival. That's just somewhere around April, May. And yeah, that's how I got associated with Barrie Public Library, and I thought Dragonboat Festival was super cool because I never heard of something like that back in India or in Saudi. So I was kind of excited about it. So I felt that Dragonboat Festival, I met a lot of people from different backgrounds. Most importantly, which prevailed in Canada. So I was able to communicate better with them, able to improve onto it. Not saying that I'm the best now, I'm still improving. But I think that was one factor where it really helped me, and that was communication, where I'm able to now communicate better than I was before. And once when it got started, I was in my little shell first, and then I started opening up a little because how open all the people in the staff and library was. So I think that space, that the Dragonboat Festival in general gave me that space where I could come out, and that kind of gave me a step on to how the culture works in Canada. And yeah, I think since then I'm able to blend in a little more than I was before the Dragonboat Festival. I don't know any other way, or I'm not aware about any other way where I can make an impact in the community, but I know for a fact that if I volunteer, even if it's like a small help, even if it's like just one day task, even if it's just 1 hour task, you're making a difference because it's a ripple effect. It's a cascade where you do one thing and it just follows and it builds up a whole thing. So guys, if you want to be happy, volunteer.